Sermon 13 regards the people of Basra. And this is different than when Uthman stood up and threatened the people and questioned the people for their criticism of a lack of democracy because he was chosen by a group of 6. And sometimes it is for us to be politically led by a woman. Our faith, our pledge, is not about the personality of the leader. And the places of worship, they may stand out. They may be nice. But having a nice place of worship isn't going to be enough to keep you up if you're political or, politics is citizenship. It's not some mere argument about political parties and stuff. It's citizenship. So if your citizenship is not on a religious basis, if you ignore religion there, now, upholding your place of worship and all that stuff is certainly nice, but, And so there's a few other versions of this sermon. Sometimes it's that more details are remembered here and less over there. And that's actually more of the thing rather than it being separate conflicting accounts. Because one version talks about the city being drowned to the point where its mosque would be like the boat sticking up. So the only thing surviving of the benefit of the place would be the place of worship, rather than the other reference that we saw here of the masjid sticking out, and the chastisement comes from all around it. It's basically the same thing, right? And if you spoke for a while, one of the things with the sermons is you tend to have the implication that the sermon was longer, but they only remembered part of it. Because I seriously doubt, especially the fact that chapters of the Quran that take anywhere from 5 minutes to an hour to recite were gone over and explained during some of the sermons by Muhammad, that it was only a couple sentences that he said. And a bird in a deep sea, well, the birds can only go out that so far, right? Well, it depends on what they can do in the middle of the ocean, but yeah. And because they knew better, the spiritual stench, you could say, of their place was worse. Because they had the guidance, but they didn't enact it in a social sphere. And there's more that can be said about that. But we turn to letter 13. And this was to 2 officers, Zayd bin Nasr and Shura'a bin Hani. This was when they were headed towards, they were near Sur Urum, And when someone is put in charge over us, and this is just, of course, or that's always the implication here, we should take, that rulership as our guard, and let us make haste in upholding those positions. And, they, of course, have that responsibility also. Now, saying 13 implies that we shouldn't worry about abandonment by who's close, because that doesn't seem close can find a steer. And, that's the implication is, the spiritual beings that we may not be aware of, the companions of the afterlife. So don't worry too much about who likes you here.